Hello, I'm Dr. Jen with the Rose Center for Learning, and this is your Monday message of mental health. We took a little rest in the later half of August and the first half of September. Perhaps you missed us, but rest is actually the subject of today's Monday message. This week, your message is to reach for rest. Reach for rest. What does that mean? Well, usually when we think of rest, we think of not reaching, but actually going and just relaxing and letting everything go. And that it's somehow a moving backwards for a rest so that then we can move forward later or return to our lives later. But really, one of the things that's happening in a good rest is that you're not completely letting everything go. You're just letting go the way you normally do things or the parts of you that normally are super active. You're letting those rest. And what happens when you do that is a whole nother part of you can kind of emerge and take over and get active. And that's actually what you want. So, the idea of this is that you really want to reach for your rest. You want to push it. You want to make it happen because really amazing things can come up while you're resting your normal jobs, tasks, elements of your personality, things that you like to do, ways that you use your brain, all of those things. When they take a rest, different things happen. So, for example, if you are normally somebody who, I'll use myself as an example, when I'm counseling, I give the same counseling skills that I've learned, my big arsenal of counseling skills, with individuals and families and groups when I work with them. But when I take a rest from that, what it allows my occupational brain to do is it starts to think of different ways for me to use those skills or different business skills I might have that I don't often get a chance to use. And so they then can start to kind of take over and generate really interesting ideas. Then, when I'm done with my rest, then I might have a new direction of where I want to go with my career. Another example would be relationships. Perhaps you have a lot of the same relationships, or you get the same type of support from the people in your life, and you're realizing that you need something else. You need something different. You need something more. You need something over here rather than over there. However, it is, you might need a certain type of relationship that you don't have in your life right now, or that's not desirable in your life and you want to change it up. So sometimes when you take a break from your relationships and take a rest from that, it gives you an opportunity to notice new people, to think about what qualities you really want, and to go out there and strategize how do you meet those people or how do you find those qualities. Taking a rest from the norm allows you to do things a little differently in a more refreshing way. So it could be that it is literally something creative. So it might be that you're not using your left brain enough in your life and you're a crafty person and someone who loves to be creative. We all need some creative wellness in our lives. Some of us are lucky enough to be artists or have some elements of their jobs that are artistic or volunteer jobs or hobbies. And so you get to kind of scratch that itch. But a lot of people, they really don't have any opportunities to be creative in an artistic way. And so maybe taking a rest from your normal way of being allows you to really kind of do something fun and creative and totally different from what you normally would do, and get your hands in there and just create something, even if no one else sees it. The idea is to produce something for the world, and something beautiful, something interesting, something, totally kooky, whatever it is that just gives you pleasure. So sometimes there's a location change. So sometimes you literally vacate your life and go on vacation. So, to an island somewhere, unless you live on an island, and then maybe you're going on vacation to a big city somewhere. But the idea is you change your location and you go somewhere new and you look around and everything is brand new and you've never seen this coffee shop before, or look at that amazing library, or whatever it is. When we live in the same place, we see the same things and we tend to sort of get complacent. So sometimes having a rest from your location allows you to kind of become alive and notice things more interesting than you did before. Incidentally, you can take that home with you when you come back and try to imagine that you've never been to your town before and see what you notice that you wouldn't necessarily notice on a usual day. So that's the idea, is you want to reach for rest in your life because so many amazing things can happen, can come up. Maybe there's a problem you're trying to solve, and you've lost the ability to kind of come up with ideas of how to solve it. Well, sometimes taking a rest from the problem and thinking about something else and going, especially outside in nature, going for a walk, going and doing something, going and talking to a friend, or doing something else entirely, suddenly some new ideas of how to address your problem might present themselves. That's the idea of taking a rest. You can't just go in one direction and expect that you'll be able to generate ideas and passion and interest and direction. So often we need to really take a rest to allow that process to happen. And that's why you want to make sure you've got it in your schedule. So we don't want to wait until we're so unhappy that we have to take a rest, or we're so overwhelmed with activity that our body makes us take a rest. Sometimes we'll get sick or we'll get injured, so we have no choice but to take a physical rest. Or sometimes we'll become so stressed that we need to sort of remove ourselves mentally from whatever's going on, but in a way that kind of doesn't feel good. You don't want to wait until it doesn't feel good and have a forced rest. You want to plan for it. So you really want to reach for it in your schedule, for sure. Maybe in your yearly schedule where you're planning some sort of a trip. It might be that it's in your monthly schedule, your weekly schedule, even your daily schedule. So when can you plug in some times for rest so that your brain knows this is a time when I'm really going to exercise all those other parts of me that don't often get a chance to shine. So if you plan it, then as you're going about and doing the rest of your day, or whatever your sense of normal is, when your brain is all of a sudden thinking of these things, and it's a terrible time because you've got a deadline, or you're taking care of your kids, or you're just in the middle of something and you can't entertain that thought. Well, at least if you have it in your schedule, then you can tell your brain, I'll think about that at 11 o'clock on Friday. That's my rest time. And that's when I'm going to think all these thoughts. And sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. But it's a good idea to try and sort of push all of the dreaming time and the thinking time and the creative time, and the rest into something constructive. And in that way, you'll be really an excited person, an impassioned person, and a person that has a direction and a place to go and some problems to solve, or whatever the case may be of what you're looking for, or what you're needing. So that's your Monday message for this week, is to reach for rest, reach for it, make it happen, give that gift to yourself and see where it takes you. Thanks for tuning in this week, and I'll see you next week for another Monday message of mental health. I'm Dr. Jenn with the Rose Center for Learning, signing off for this week. Always remember, at the Rose Center, help is here. Bye.